Hello, good
What's
evening.
up?
Welcome to the week 3 recap show. We are live here on the Patrick Pucci Fantasy Show YouTube channel. I am joined by my host, our host, the one and only, the Commissioner Rhino.
What's up, man?
What's up, Commissioner Rhino? Riding high right now.
Riding high.
Riding real high after that thriller.
Shh. Good lordy. Probably need to check on Hussein, make sure he's doing all right.
Oh, yeah. For every jubilant Rams fan right now, there's a disgruntled Niners fan. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the nature of the beast. What's up, Justin? How are you this evening? And what's up, Farquad? Hello, my friend. Hello, Taysom. We are look, man. Week 3 is almost in the books. With a game tonight, the Chiefs and the Falcons, which should be a good game, by the way. That should be a good one. Um, and then we got a nice doubleheader tomorrow night. Speaking of doubleheaders, we will be debuting a space on X featuring host B Lion. I believe that starts at 8 o'clock. It'll be kind of like a recap of today's action, what we're going to be doing for you today here on the YouTube channel. And then also, just football conversation, just fantasy conversation, dialogue, just people coming together talking football. What better than that? Already, the discourse is coming in for Jameson Williams. Yeah, I mean, Rhino, I do want to we are going to get to the Lions Cardinals game. Um, but the fact that he's already dust, I mean, look, he was leading the league, second in the league in targets going into today. That was like an exorbitant number for
Yeah.
for a dude of this caliber, this young in the game. Um, it was about to come back down to earth as far as I'm concerned. Um, as far as dust, I mean, yeah, he was dusted for today. If you started him, yeah, it was kind of a lousy it was a lousy day for you if you started
One
Jameson
catch for
Williams.
9 yards. That's how lousy it was.
Yeah, it was a lousy day. Well, I mean, while we're on that game, aside from Jameson Williams, lack of performance, Sam Laporta did get hurt in the game. He tried to come back in the game, then he re-entered the game. I'm not sure exactly what the injury is. I think I believe it's his foot, whether that's ankle,
Probably another ankle.
yeah, calf injury. I don't know exactly. Nevertheless, that's something that we should be monitoring. I mean, again, this was a highly drafted tight end coming off of again an unbelievable rookie campaign. Um, and it just goes to show you again the volatility. We've discussed this many times last year and in the offseason, the volatility of the tight end position. Rhino.
Yeah.
When you've got other guys that are running routes that are faster, that maybe have a little bit of a different skill set. These are the guys that garner more of the attention than the tight end. That's not to say that the tight end is a bad pass catching option. However, it's more or less they're not as high on a pecking order, with the exception again in a handful of circumstances, a handful of teams have them high on a pecking order. But again, if you now that we saw two games, first 2 weeks, we saw two very skilled wide receivers, and it dropped Sam Laporta down in the pecking order.
Yeah.
And with an injury today, again, I don't know the severity. None of us do at this time, but it's going to be something to monitor. Will Jameson Williams garner the attention again moving forward? Think I think he's going to be okay because again
He'll be okay. It's
well
just a game.
he I say that for the fact that he left on a cart, which was probably procedure. Then he came back, tried to come re-enter the game, and then came out of the game again. While we're on the Lions Cardinals, yes, Rookie Marvin Harrison, again, looked great, scored another touchdown. But how about that play from the Lions?
Oh, the toss to Jahmyr Gibbs?
The hook and ladder.
Yeah, that was nice.
Well, that's the play that Laporta got hurt on, as a matter of fact. I'm pretty sure that's the play because he was the last guy blocking at the end zone. Nevertheless,
because I caught the tail end of that. Gibbs right into the touchdown, so I didn't really see the whole play until they replayed it because my mind was on the Rams game. So,
again, I get it, but yeah, that was a nice little nifty hook and ladder. It's interesting. I believe I'd have to check. I'm not sure if the stats have come in for the late games, but I think Amon-Ra St. Brown would get credited with a pass there. Would he not?
No, because it was behind him. It was a backwards pass. It's just a toss.
Are you sure that's going to be the way it works?
Yeah.
Then that's lousy for the Amon-Ra St. Brown owners.
Yeah. It's no different from if they're playing like the last play of the game and they're doing like the toss the ball back and forth. Unless the ball is thrown forward, it's a pass. If it's not, it's just a toss.
Well, that's kind of lousy then for the Amon-Ra owners. But nevertheless, Jahmyr Gibbs did find the end zone on that play. That we know for certain. All right. Well, Rhino, our guy, New England Football Junkie, is in the house. You are the Jedi Master Junkie, Justin. Appreciate you being here. And, of course, our guy, Farquad. And I'm sure there are many others. You're more than welcome to chat us. Give us your take on the action this week. We're going to do our very, very best to break it down for you. But why don't we get to one of my headlines for today? If not one of my headlines, probably the only headline. It's kind of like a quasi football / play on words / fantasy. Okay. What you talking about, Malik Willis and your buzz? What you talking about?
Are you old enough to know that show, that sitcom?
No, I am. I grew up on Different Strokes. I did for sure. If you're not familiar with what you're talking about, Willis, I highly recommend you look up Different Strokes and Gary Coleman and that whole entire story. Yeah. But how about Malik Willis?
He looked good.
Got the job done.
They played to his strength, and he did what he's supposed to do. Just keep, play safe, get the ball to people that he can get the ball to, and not overthink anything, and use his legs. I think he had like 73 yards rushing.
You want to talk about the quote unquote game manager, right? I mean, like, this is exactly what this man came in to do for the last 2 weeks now. 2 weeks. Yeah. Look, all they care about is the W in the win column. Now, we all know, unless this was like a really deep, well, most super flexes are deep. If this was like a real bind where you had to start Malik Willis in a super flex format, then this happened to have been a pretty decent game. 202 yards, 1 passing touchdown, and he did rush for 1, right? Oh, yeah, 73 yards on the ground. This was an above decent game. Above.
Yeah.
The other story here for the Packers, it was not Josh Jacobs and his meager 40 yards on 14 carries. But it was Emmanuel Wilson. I mean, that doesn't help anybody. Nobody had Emmanuel Wilson starting in this game who carried the ball 12 times.
But also Jacobs was banged up a little bit coming into the game too. So that could have been why too. Who knows? I mean, maybe they're saving him for next week against the Vikings. That's an important game. So who knows? They won.
Let me ask you another question regarding.
Ask away, man.
Let me ask you this regarding Emmanuel Wilson. If he's going to continue to carry the ball for 12 times with a good 4.17 average, they're in no rush to rush Marshawn Lloyd back, are they?
No. Well,
or does he throw? He throws a wrinkle into what we perceived to be a 1-2 punch or a.
Yeah.
I don't know about a 1A, 1B
Lloyd's
type of
going to be out for another month.
And if
by that time, Emmanuel Wilson's going to have his feet planted as the number 2 because Marshawn Lloyd hasn't really done anything to make the point that he's going to be running back 2. He's been hurt, which is just sad.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the Titans defense in this game, I mean, again, like it wasn't like they didn't give up. I mean, the 30 burger on them. I thought their defense was better than this. I did.
Yeah.
Their rushing defense, their passing. I thought they were a better defensive unit overall. And the Packers went into Nashville and just had their way with them. They really had their way with them. Kudos to the Packers. The receiving group, again, we didn't expect much out of these dudes. If we were starting any one of them, it was going to be Reed.
Yeah, and Watson had what? Watson had 2 or 3 catches for 67 yards.
Yes.
So I'll take that.
Yes.
Better than a goose egg. I hate seeing a goose egg freaking when I'm playing fantasy football next to my player.
Again, this is going to look a lot different when Jordan Love comes back. I'm kind of I'm a Jordan Love owner. You know, I'm a Jordan Love fan.
Yeah, same here.
I was okay. I did not want him rushed back for this game, especially after last week's performance. Let them take a little bit more time. Let him take more time getting fully healthy for a longer haul. Look at this man. Look at the Odysseus. Welcome in, Odysseus. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Glad to see you around. I know that you've been super busy, and I hope that your team absolutely super took a loss. No, I'm joking. I want all teams not to fare well if I'm playing in that league. That goes for you too, Rhino, and it's absolutely nothing personal at all. Again, yeah, there's not much to talk about on the Tennessee side of the ball. Will Levis is on a short leash as far as I'm concerned at this time. Let's go to the other part of that play on words with Willis and Malik, and that's Neighbors. Again, I think this is the first rookie NFL history to have 3 touchdowns in the first 3 weeks, and I don't know, some absurd amount of receptions, something along those lines.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Turning the fan on, ceiling fan. It was hot in my office.
MJF used to be a Rams.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Then he lost his virginity. Max Jacob Friedman, is that what that is?
Yeah, he's an AEW wrestler.
Oh, all right. Let's see. This is why we keep you around. I wouldn't have guessed that if you would have put $1 million in front of me. Wouldn't have guessed that. Danny Dimes to Malik Neighbors. This is real.
It is real.
This is as advertised. All that preseason smoke, all that preseason hype and coach speak and this and that, and what we saw in video clips and this and that, it's real. There's nobody else that they are even looking at, or if they are looking at, it's minimal. It's a bare bones minimal. This dude is just taking an obscene amount of target share away from the rest of the receiving core, and I'm not sure if it really makes a difference now, does it?
And they could double team him, and he's still catching balls. He's that guy. He is that guy.
I mean, Wandale actually had 7 catches for 60 on 8 targets, but yeah, Malik had 12 targets in this game. Wandale did have 8 targets, 7 catches for 61. That's not terrible. And then after that, it was Devin Singletary, as a matter of fact, 4 for 4 on 43 yards. So
63 yards in the air.
Say that real fast. 443 and 4.
Right.
And on the ground, Devin paced the way for the running back group. 16 carries, 65 yards, 1 touchdown. Not bad. Not bad. This is someone. All right, here I got a $1 million question for you, and I got a $1 million question for all of you beautiful goats. Moving forward, flex half PPR, Devin Singletary or Zamir White. Now you guys could answer it in the chat. I have a feeling we already know what the answer is going to be based on what we just saw this past slate of games. Nevertheless, we'll get to the Raiders. We'll get to Rhino's secondary team in a little bit. Danny Dimes had a pretty decent game. Again, this is someone that you're not starting in a 1 QB league. This is somebody that's going to be he's probably a super flex quarterback.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely, if you're in a 12-team dynasty or a 12-team super flex league, he's probably your 21st, 22nd, 23rd second QB in at that point.
I would play in any whatever field it is. I'm going to play Singletary over Zamir White anytime because Singletary is actually getting in the end zone.
It's the offensive system.
Yeah.
Right, with Dable.
Mm-hmm. And he's getting the majority of the carries.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. I just threw that out there because, I mean, not that Devin Singletary was really on the borderline on the on a start sit. All right, I didn't see many Devin Singletary start sit questions this week, whether he should, be benched or not. I mean, like he's just someone that is. He's going to be a safe floor, I would say. He's going to be a safe floor for you. There isn't going to be that much upside, especially if they're going to continue to move the ball, push the ball downfield.
Yeah,
between the two wide receivers. How about them Browns? What could Brown do for you? Well, they could lose. What could Jerome Ford do for you? Not much. Deshaun didn't have a terrible game. He looked fantastic on the first play of the game. He looked fantastic. Like he hit Amari Cooper in the end zone touchdown. Then it kind of looked like old Deshaun.
Yeah, I didn't watch that game. I was watching.
Whether he's really not seeing the field right, whether he seems rushed, whether his brain is going faster than what the game is supposed to be, slower to be able to see the entire field, to be able to anticipate where wide receivers are going to be. Nevertheless, though, for the game itself, he didn't turn the ball over. He had 196 yards through the air, 21 for 37, and 196 yards for 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's not.
Let me ask you a question.
That's not terrible.
Let me ask you a question. This is I'm being honest in this question too. I'm asking this. Do you think that we will ever see the Deshaun Watson of Houston?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
And that's whatever. I don't know if it's so much time off or whatever's going on.
I had a feeling that you were going to kind of not necessarily spell that out. The time off, yes. Time off, I'm sure, has something to do with it. But even before all that crap came down,
he sat out a year too because
before his injury, and before all that crap off the field crap, when he signed with the Browns, I said that this was a bad landing spot. It's a bad landing spot. It's a bad environment. He's going from an indoor situation to now Cleveland, of all places, whether he played in Cleveland today or not. I mean, forget it. It's just he's not the same quarterback. Maybe too much time did go on where he wasn't on the field, and he's trying to shake that rust off. Injury after injury. I don't think he's not going to return to the Houston quarterback that we remember seeing. Absolutely not. If he can return to, if he can resemble, let me put it this way, if he can resemble anything along the lines of what we saw today, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. If he could do 225 and 2 touchdowns, that's a victory. That's a pretty decent game. Other than that, though, I mean, he doesn't have much help here. He doesn't have much help.
Need a running game.
He doesn't have much help. Dante Foreman. Where's Fark? Oh, I didn't give. Ah, okay, hold on 1 second. Let's see if we let's see if we can get Odysseus. Let's see if we can get SoCal a link while we're in the middle of a show. This is going to be a new feat for us here at the Patrick Pucci Fantasy Show. Week 3 recap. Maybe we could do settings. Will this work? No, probably not. General.
Go to invite.
Guest. No, that's not going to work. Where would I go to invite?
Down at the very bottom of the screen. Are you on full screen or?
I see it. Okay. I see it. All right. Copy. Now, where should we send it? Wolfie, I'm going to direct you to your DM. Your ex DM. That's where I'm going to direct you. What a goof on my part. I apologize, everybody. This is production errors on our end, my end. Oh my Lord, it's getting worse. Now I just lost my DMs. Hold on. My apologies, everybody. SoCal. Paste. What a goof. This show will go down as a goof, but it's okay. It's okay while we're working
this shows like this. It's all good.
While we're working it all out. This is only week 3, folks. You know, I put the 2024. I put the 2024 in the in like our thumbnail YouTube's descriptions for a reason, because next season or in 2026, when you want to look back on what took place in 2024, when you do a search on the tube, the Patrick Pucci Fantasy Show on YouTube, boom, a 2024 video is going to come up of this goof. It's as simple as that. Oh, all right. Jerome Jarius Ford is a major disappointment. Major disappointment at this time. This is someone who we thought was going to come in and at least give us something serviceable for Nick Chubb's absence. Dante Foreman, who now they wanted to rotate in with Jerome Ford. He showed us nothing. Once again, SoCal, it's the Browns running game. It's their running backs. They are not getting it done. So while Deshaun happened to have had a pretty decent game in the air in a loss, they don't have a running game. And the Giants aren't a good defense either, although they are better up front, right? I mean, their front seven is definitely stronger than their secondary, but still, in any event, welcome to the show, SoCal Bull Nerd. The amount of nerd that comes out of this man's skull and dome is baffling to me. It really is. From the moment that I met him all the way till this time, right here, right now, right here, right now, right here, right now. It's this man, and he's got the beard to back up the wolf in him.
Hey, got to look like a wolf too. Yeah, the more I nerd out on fantasy football, the more I hate this damn game. But I love it, right? But I don't know anything, man. The NFL unfolds as it will, man, right? I mean, the Rams, but Jawan Jennings, just going absolutely berserko. Dak not showing up till the fourth quarter, finally being, fantasy relevant if you started Dak. Zamir White, the Raiders are given a gifted game script on a silver platter, and they can't even provide that for White to have any relevance. I can't start Zamir White any week at this point in the fantasy season after week 3. Hey, everything's subject to change. Don't forget that. But right now, man, I can't play Zamir White, right? So, that's a dead running back that I took that is killing me. Where was Trey McBride? Where was Kyler Murray in this fantastic matchup? It just, the more I know, man, the more I realize I don't know a damn thing. But I'm happy to be here and talk some football. I know Rhino's happy.
Yeah.
On the Browns, real quick, yeah, man, no offensive line, and I mean, B-Rob torched this Giants front seven, like you said. Sieg, they're better than their secondary, but the Giants are terrible. I mean, other than Dan, I mean, Danny Dimes and Malik Neighbors have to give you some excitement in the fantasy world and as a Giants fan, because I mean, Malik Neighbors, this is clearly not the same Cleveland defense at home that it was last year. I mean, I know the offense isn't as good and they're struggling, but this defense, when you went into Cleveland last year as a wide receiver, you were having a bad game every single week. And
it was going to be a tough outing, yeah.
So Malik Neighbors is
on the opposing quarterbacks either. So I mean, Myles Garrett was in and out of the game today, correct? From what I was saying.
I mean, this Browns team is just not the same team. And like, some garbage numbers, kind of. Cooper, a couple big plays. I mean, he was nice, 7 for 86 and 2 touchdowns. That was against the Giants. So, I mean, against a good team, I don't know, man. There's a lot of question marks on playing these Browns players week in and week out for sure.
Yeah.
I think, again, that you brought up an excellent point. That the defenses is playing the same. Yes, we know that the Giants' offense is going to be very, very schematic. It's going to be very well designed to be able to exploit certain weaknesses. But this Browns defense is not playing the same as they did last season, and there's no running game. There's no running game here whatsoever to at least take some of the pressure off of Deshaun Watson, who again. Based on the box score right now, it wasn't a bad game, but just the Giants happen to have scored a little bit more, one possession more. So that's it. I've had enough of that game. How about this interesting game here, where we already had A.J. Brown ruled out, and he might miss another week. So again, we don't know whether when he was on the sideline and he kind of gave a little blurb interview on that I guess it was last week already, where he said it might be a couple of weeks. We're not really sure if he was referring to the couple of weeks starting with that game and now this game as in 2, or if it could possibly be a couple of weeks starting with next week, which would have been this week and now one more. Nevertheless, no AJ Brown. There wasn't much Devontae Goat either, because he left with a concussion. The Dallas Goedert show. It was the Dallas Goedert show, and the Saquon Barkley show, and guess what other show it was? It was the crash. Back down to earth came the Saints.
Too. You called it.
It's I don't really want to take too much credit into it. It's the Saints. They are who we thought they were. Now, I mean, SoCal, Rhino, that's not to say that they are going to now repeat this, wash, rinse, repeat. No, I'm not suggesting that. But we do have now this floor of 12 points of an offense versus what we saw the last 2 weeks in a high octane Alvin Kamara 4 touchdowns, Rashid Shaheed going deep all over the place. He did drop a touchdown, by the way. It wasn't an easy catch, but nevertheless, it was a would-be touchdown drop. You got to give the Eagles a little bit of credit here as well. They put the clamps down on the Saints. They had a good defensive game plan, and the Saints defense really didn't, where they allowed 15 points. I mean, that's not a terrible performance out of a defense either. So you have a takeaway from this, gentlemen? I mean, there's not much offense here. Jalen did not throw for a touchdown. 170 yards out of Dallas Goedert. My God. And you know what? Devontae Smith did have 79 yards on 7 receptions before leaving the game. Oh.
Yeah. I just saw a quick thing that Laporta has a low ankle sprain. That's what
Low-
the sleep is right now. So
Low ankle, huh?
yeah, low ankle.
Yeah, that's new, isn't it? They went from the high to the low,
Yeah.
and before this there was never low ankle sprain, but nevertheless, well, that's good news, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not bad. Wolfie, what's your outlook for Derek Carr and this and this Saints offense now? Want to take a look at their schedule? Do you need to see that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the schedule is going to matter, right? I think there's a little bit to be said that I think this Eagles defense is pretty good. They got burned last. I mean, they played pretty well against Atlanta, other than a couple throws to Mooney, right? Like, I mean, Bijan had his way in the first half, but he didn't do anything in the second half, which partially was that the Eagles kept the ball for the entire third quarter on that one drive, right? But they looked good in the second half against Green Bay. And they look good today. I think that defense is only going to get better under Vic Fangio. So I will give a little credit there. But I will say, like, with the Shaheed thing, like, you're not going to get a 70-yard touchdown every week. Like,
No.
We've never seen that. We've never seen that before. We didn't even see it with Deshaun Jackson. Like, that's my Deshaun Jackson theory, right? Like, he was the best to do that boom or bust. And even he had plenty of bust games because, like, you're not going to get that. And so if you're only getting 4 targets, granted, if he caught the one today, it would have been 3 weeks in a row that he did it. I still stand behind the theory that you're not going to do it for 17 weeks. You saw Olave get involved. Carr had a nice touchdown to him. He's not a huge target monster today, but I still think that you're going to get plenty of good games from this team because Kamara still is able to run the football a little bit, it looks like. They do like the play action. I think that you're still going to have probably more highs than lows from this team. And with the defense that looks to keep them in the game, right?
Yeah, Lavi had 6 catches for 86 yards and a touchdown. That's not a bad day.
Touchdowns make all the difference, right? Last week he was a half a yard from scoring a touchdown. Every part of his body went in the end zone except the ball. And, I mean, that'd be 2 touchdowns on the season, right? Like, Amari Cooper had 2 touchdowns on his first 3 catches today. Like, touchdowns are the difference in fantasy football, right? Between a good day, a bad day, or a good day and a great day. Like, but you're not going to get 17 of those from Rashid Shaheed. So, to me, it's all about who are you starting Rashid Shaheed over? Are you starting him over a guy who's going to get you 8, 9 targets? Like, did you start him over Amari Cooper? I wouldn't have done that. Like, Amari Cooper had 17 targets. Like, that's what it comes down to me, And I think there's enough guys out there that you probably don't have to start Shaheed all the time, but I do think this Saints offense still probably has more highs than lows. They were a top 5 offense. They were a top 5 offense the last 9 weeks of last season.
I wish. Hold on. I mean, I wish I could have. Hold on. I think I still have it from yesterday. I'd love to see one of these start sits from yesterday with Shaheed. Shaheed. Come on. There's definitely 1 or 2 that I saw in here. Shaheed. Pick.
What did Zay Flowers do today?
That I have to check.
That was a common. I mean, Shaheed or Flowers was a pretty common one. I think that might have popped up on the show for us too. But that was a common one I saw going around. That kind of range of guys.
How about this? All right, so here's 2.
I'll give you Zay Flowers.
Shaheed or Shakir is 1. Would you have done Shaheed over Shakir tomorrow night, based on the fact that the Bills are on tomorrow?
All right, that would have been close. I mean, Shakir's getting a good amount. I mean, here's the thing. It depends. On that case, it depends on my lineup, right? If I needed a floor, I think right now Shakir is like a good 9, 10 points. Like, he seems to be 4 or 5 for 50 yards. Like, he's probably going to get that floor. So if I had a star-studded lineup where my flex, I was like, I'm happy with 9, 10 points, I'd go Shakir. But if I was like, I'm playing against, somebody went off, I'm playing against Aaron Rodgers and, Conklin, I might have gone Shaheed to hope for that 70-yard bomb.
Yeah.
And now
Flowers went three catches for 20 yards.
Now take this one now, and this must be a flex question. Pick one: Zamir, Calvin, or Shaheed. In a flex, I probably would have done Zamir in a flex here. Who
was the third option? Oh, Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley, Rashid Shaheed, or Zamir White. Let me put it to you this way: I answered a post last night. Actually, it was from a friend of ours, Rachel Tootsie Pop. I don't think she would mind if I'm plugging her in the post right now. She said, "Are we starting Zamir White?" I said, "I'm starting him in several spots, but one." So I mean, Zamir White. I was good. If I have 5 shares or Zamir's on 5 rosters of mine, he started 4 out of 5. I'm pretty sure of that. So based on this right here, I would have started Zamir over Calvin and Rashid Shaheed. But none of these, not one of these worked. As a matter of fact, Zamir White,
the answer there didn't matter. But I agree. I would have went Zamir too, because I'm going to take the running back in the best matchup, who's probably going to touch the ball the most and be near the goal line. But again, when they were near the goal line, I mean, hindsight, they went Madison, right? He got this touchdown. Yep. Zamir didn't. And they were down from the get-go. I mean, it just, Andy Dalton out here looking like, Peyton Manning. I mean, the Red Rockets struck gold, bro. And, I mean, again, man, that's a pocket quarterback still has value in the NFL, man. I know these young, running, exciting guys, but if you can protect the ball, make throws, look at what Andy Dalton did with his team. And everybody was raving about the Raiders defense, right? I mean, and they just got torched. But back to what you're saying, I mean, it's a running back with volume and a good matchup. And that was mentioned last night. Running back, volume, matchup. I got to lay my head at night and be okay with that call.
The process is correct. We just didn't get the result.
And they all suck. So in this case, your saving grace is that none of the other guys went off. So at least it's worse when one of the 3 does work on your bench, like having the one Chuba Hubbard, who had not a lot of business in anybody's starting lineup. He got a lot of us this week, my man. I mean,
I guarantee you Chuba Hubbard's going to get into starting lineups this week when it comes to whether you have him over Zamir White. Actually, I have one team that's like that, a team that also has Jonathan Brooks waiting, but still, yeah, I mean, Zamir White, again, bottom line is we might have been wrong. Maybe he comes on later on in the season. Maybe AP gives him another opportunity next week. However, in our universe, we don't have the luxury. They don't really have the luxury either, because they don't have a running game. However, we don't have the luxury of screwing around trying to wait on what we thought was going to be a volume, workhorse, bruising running back. End of story. Let's move on.
Yes, he plays Cleveland, Denver, and Pittsburgh next 3 games.
This was the gimme matchup.
It doesn't matter who they play, because this was the game where at least we thought the game script would favor the Raiders in possibly a win, not playing from behind against what we thought was probably the worst team in football. So, what game do you see Zamir White, who doesn't get the passing work, doesn't get the goal line work, and apparently this Raiders defense, at least after today, isn't ever going to put us in a position to be ahead? I mean, that makes Zamir White non-playable until we see differently, and I don't know what signs show me that anything's going to change. That's rough.
Yeah.
Well, it's not at this time.
It's like DeAndre Swift. This Bears offensive line is so bad. And they give carries to everybody else. You had Herbert in at the goal line. You had Roschon get 6 carries. You can't use a Bears running back because they can't run the football behind that offensive line in any game.
Three running backs, the 3-headed monster running backs of Roschon, DeAndre, and Khalil Herbert accumulated 59 yards on the ground with a combined 25 carries between three of them. And that's not counting the rush that Caleb did, or the one end around that Roma Dooms may have attempted that I didn't see. Nevertheless, this Bears team still looks pretty lousy. Better, but still lousy. And I'm not sure if the Colts are worse. Although they won, they did win the game. The Colts don't look that much better, unfortunately. Anthony Richardson does not look the same as he did in his limited amount of playing time last year. He just does. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's what they're drawing up for him or the stubbornness of the RPO that they're trying to do. That defenses see a mile away. If we know, let me put it this way. Holy smokes. It was a first down call. It was an incomplete pass. They were they were right at the goal line. First down, incomplete. Then the second down was him on the RPO that got stuffed. If I knew that play, so did the defense. They knew that play as well. I knew that was coming. So again, I don't know whether it's whether they don't have the full playbook open for Anthony Richardson, or he's just not connecting in the same manner. Maybe Josh Downs coming back will help next week, because it didn't do much this week. Alec Pierce is still that one catch, 44 yards, 2 targets. Kyle Granson, 1 target. Michael Pittman had 5 targets, 4 catches, 36 yards. There's nothing here to report other than Jonathan Taylor's game. 110.
No, and Richardson just barely missed Anandai Mitchell a couple of times deep too. And one of them, I think, if Anandai Mitchell would have been more assertive, he probably would have caught the ball. But yeah, you're right. There's nothing here. This was the Taylor game.
There's nothing here, fellas, other than Jonathan Taylor. And the only reason that the Colts walked away with a victory here was that they played the Bears.
Yeah,
pretty much.
100%. 100%. You love what you see. You love what you see from Jonathan Taylor in this game. But the concern for me is when they're playing a much better offense, even if you do give Taylor the ball 18, 19 times on the ground, which they should do, he's probably not going to be as effective, because if they're playing from behind where Richardson can't complete passes, and it's just going to be a different type of matchup when you're not playing the Bears. I mean, that just concerns me, and I know Taylor got 1 catch today. If I'm the Colts offense, I'm finding a way to get Jonathan Taylor the ball in the passing game. I'm perplexed. I'm perplexed. I'm not an NFL coach. I don't claim to be, but use your running back. Even though you have a good offensive line, your quarterback's having trouble getting the ball down the field. This dude is absolutely just a beast on the field. Throw the man the ball. JT should have 4+ targets every week.
They threw the sermon a couple of times. So
this does not resemble the Colts offense with Gardner Minshew.
Well, I mean, Gardner Minshew was effective behind a good offensive line, because he's, again, like the Andy Dalton. I know Minshew wasn't good today, but and he's not a star. He's more of a backup, if you ask me, in this league, but he's played well. Look at Andy Dalton. Look at Lamar Jackson. Look at Justin Fields. These guys are fun to watch. Anthony Richardson, but they lack that Peyton Manning pocket presence that has always been a huge characteristic in a good NFL quarterback. Andy Dalton has that. There's games when Gardner Minshew is behind an offensive line. He has that, right? Yeah. He doesn't have that high-flying flashiness, but he has what it takes to move the chains and get the job done, right? And so he did that very well for the Colts last year. And they don't have that in Richardson. And I will say, I'm not saying that Richardson is cooked or anything, but he's got to learn to make the basic throws, to move the chains, be accurate, or we're going to see a lot of these lows more than we want to.
What we need to understand I know what our expectations. I know my expectations are for him. But one thing that we need to curb on the fact is that he had one full season in college, and now 7 NFL games?
I don't even know was that a full season for the Gators?
I believe so. Yeah.
Because then it was like only one
So he's
season.
he's very, very young in his quarterbacking years. So
Anthony Richardson.
Maybe need to dumb it down some for him.
Anthony Richardson is in Pittsburgh next week. You started him?
In my home league,
I know this was cause for pause. Believe me, I know because it's going to be cause for pause moving forward now.
If Jordan Love is a go, I'm playing Jordan Love over Richardson.
One QB league. Let's not forget, based on that small sampling that we saw last year, and all these off the chart metrics and data in those 4 small game sampling. He was drafted mid-round to start for your fantasy football team. And maybe you drafted a second quarterback like Jared Goff. Maybe you drafted Baker Mayfield with Anthony Richardson. But now it's going to beg the question. He's got a bad matchup next week. This was an easy matchup.
Yeah.
Next week's a bad matchup.
No, I'm playing the second quarterback.
Wolfie?
If it's a second tier or first tier like quarterback, then I'm playing I'm playing a different quarterback. So if I have a choice between Richardson and Cousins, I'll probably play Cousins.
Are you playing Aaron Rodgers or Anthony Richardson?
Aaron Rodgers.
I think I may.
It depends on the matchup, though, too.
I think I may.
Aaron Rodgers.
Who are the Jets playing? I think I may.
Yeah, I got to see the schedule. But I would lean the streaming quarterbacks right now because again, I think the Steelers are just a tougher matchup of what this Bears team is. Like they're going to run the football, but behind a good offensive line. They're a good defensive front that's going to be able to contain JT, if you will, because he is one of the best. I'm not going to say just shut him down. Like, I don't think J.K. Dobbins is Jonathan Taylor, nor is Gus Edwards. But we saw what the Steelers defense did today against that run game that had dominated. So I think that, they're going to try to run the football. You're going to see, there you go. You're going to see a lot of JT next week, but against a pretty good defensive front and against a team in Pittsburgh that probably will be able to run the football better against Indianapolis than Chicago did. Not that would take much, but they'll have success running the football. Like, it's a Najee game next week for me from what I've seen outside of the Colts this week. But this week doesn't matter because they played a Bears team that can't run the football. So you're going to be in the same 21-16 type range probably. Yeah, you always have the chance of Richardson getting a running touchdown. But I think unless the schedule is just nasty for these other guys, I got to think about sitting him in a 1 QB league 100%.
It would take like some serious wild colt horses for Steichen to have to remove Anthony Richardson off that field. That is his guy. That's his draft pick. For him to have to pull Anthony Richardson for Joe Flacco, if they had, I mean, look, they need to win football games. Like, here's the other thing, right? They're also taking a look at their division. They're also looking at the fact that, okay, the Texans just got them, beaten today in Minnesota. Jacksonville is 0-2, and the Titans stink. So they're now looking at they're basically a game off of the Texans. They need to win. They need to start winning, though. They have to continue to win. So no, it's not. I don't think it's going to happen immediately. But if they don't start winning, it could. Again, it would take wild horses for Richardson to come off this field. By the way, the Jets are hosting the Broncos. More horses.
Oh.
At MetLife. So, I mean, again, like if it's a matter of Aaron Rodgers coming off of that performance with the way that offense looked versus Anthony Richardson and what we see with our own eye, I think I would take Aaron Rodgers if I have him. I think I would. Nevertheless, let's move on to a couple other doozies. Well, Speaking of them Texans, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold for MVP.
Yep.
Justin Jefferson scored, but he had nothing in the second half. I mean, not that really makes that much of a difference to us. Like, he got it done in the first half. The only thing about it, right? when you get that early score in the first, or when it looks like he's about to go off, you get so excited because you have a whole entire game ahead of you, but then it doesn't really happen for you. Nevertheless,
he jammed his finger.
Okay.
So maybe that was one of the reasons why.
Not a serious injury. Nevertheless, he let's take a look. This is good. It's a decent game. 8 targets, 6 catches, 81 yards with the score. Aaron Jones luckily got in receiving. He's the second leading receiver, by the way. With 46 yards on 5 catches with the touchdown. And then Jalen Naylor. Jalen Naylor's name came up a bunch. This is someone that is going to come up a bunch also now that he's rostered in terms of like whether he's going to be in the flex or not. Sam Darnold looks really good. I can't say much else. I mean, it's a super efficient 181 and 4 touchdowns. He's executing that offense to perfection. If there was no JJ McCarthy, he would be nowhere in sight as far as coming into the bowl game anytime soon. This is Sam Darnold's gig to lose at this point. The Vikings look really good.
And if he keeps on playing like this throughout the season, they're gonna have a tough decision to make going into the next season.
And it'll be a real competition, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to answer this right now because it's not as fantasy relevant, and I know we're pressing time per usual. But is this Sam Darnold, who, if you go back and look when he was in Carolina, was actually pretty solid. I mean, they didn't ask him to do much, but you look at his games over the course of what he played. He was efficient. He moved the ball. Look at Geno Smith in Seattle. I mean, is this a quarterback problem or is this a Jets managing quarterbacks problem? Is Zach Wilson actually better than we think he is? Because these quarterbacks are leaving the New York Jets and finding success elsewhere. That has to be looked at. And Aaron Rodgers is an exception because he was a Hall of Famer before he got there.
Okay, so with New York, who were his weapons? Corey Davis and some other schmuck,
Well, who? Zach?
So it's a Jets organization problem, though.
It's a Jets organizational issue in terms of developing a quarterback, with the exception, only one exception in the last 10 years, and that would be Zach Wilson. Other than that, it's on the organization. It's been on the organization. Just like when you're laying out. I don't mean to cut you off, Wolfie, but you just laid out the 2 perfect key examples. We see Sam Darnold and what he's doing now, not just with the Vikings, but what he looked pretty solid in Carolina in spurts. Looked pretty solid in spurts, kind of very, very limited amount of spurts in San Francisco. Same thing with Geno. Geno left. Geno's now backing up in Seattle. Geno gets the opportunity in Seattle. Geno's a starting quarterback in this league. So, yes, it's an organizational issue for sure, with the exception of one guy.
But so if Zach Wilson was on the Seahawks or the Vikings, would he be terrible?
Yes. Yeah, it'd be the same Zach Wilson. That's why he's the exception to the rule. Other than that.
But why? He hasn't had a chance elsewhere. Those other guys were awful in New York, too.
Oh, Zach Wilson's. He's not going to get a starting job opportunity like Geno did. And if he's thrusted into the starting role due to, like, let's say, injury for the Broncos, he's a dead man.
It can't be in Denver. It would have to be. We probably, like you said, we'll probably never get to see this play out because he would have to be put in a situation where he has a good offense like Seattle or a Justin Jefferson. He probably won't ever get that chance. I just think it's interesting that these 2 guys were not good at all in New York.
Zach Wilson can't process.
Hey, I'm not a Zach Wilson guy. You can go back and I got tweets. I got tweets talking about everybody talking about his BYU Pro Day in basketball shorts. Like, I don't care what you can do in basketball shorts, just like Braylon Allen don't want to run in his underwear, you know?
Right.
I mean,
look, I don't want to put too much of the bias into it. All right, because I seen the last 2 seasons of him with Garrett Wilson. I saw Garrett Wilson as a rookie absolutely call him out in a press conference as a rookie, both of them. So I don't want to just like nail the coffin on the dude. It could, I mean, again, if he were to get another opportunity with, you know, some more time under his belt, like at age 26, like Gino, at age 28, in the absolute perfect system where now he sees the game slower, where he is able to process exactly what is going on the field between each of his receivers. It's possible. I don't want to nail the coffin on him.
I hope we get a chance to see it at some point in the future where he finds himself on a team with some talent just to play this theory out. But for another day, what are we on?
Let's say he ends up with the Rams. Do you think maybe McVay might be able to fix him?
You would think so. You would think so. Again, you would have to fast forward this. I would think you would have to be closer to age 30 than he is now, with actually watching a lot of the game live on the sidelines in practice, doing that thing, and then maybe something clicks for him with the right offensive coach. Yeah, maybe. Look, if it happened,
what else we got?
It happened. It happened to Gino. It happened with Gino where he became he's a competent quarterback in this league, a competent starting quarterback, and that was under Pete. What else we got? I mean, you know, there's not much to write home about. I mean, we know what happened with the Cowboys. That Texans laid a goose egg. Your Chargers, Justin Herbert, left the game, unfortunately. Not sure if he should have been playing in the game from the get-go in Pittsburgh. You know what else that we should have taken into account more, and maybe we did, but it wasn't talked about enough, was the fact that they had to return back to the East Coast, or as far to the East Coast as possible. The Chargers, again, back-to-back road trips. This was good. This was a tough spot for the Chargers altogether. Gotta love Quentin Johnston. How about QJ?
Yeah.
Caught another one. That was before.
Wide open touchdown. I think the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Chargers might have stayed on the East Coast.
Yeah, so that's that would have been the move. But if they didn't, and if they went back to LA and then trekked back, that definitely played into the lackluster performance. Again, Herbert left the game with his foot issue. Not sure if he should have been playing or not. He already has a foot issue from weeks ago, so I don't know. Again, I'm not the doctor here. I don't want to put any of my own opinion on the matter. It's just, again, you hope that he's healthy because the Chargers are going to need him under center. As much as we love Stickius ain't going to get it done. J.K. Dobbins needs Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, the Dobbins know, and this was talked about yesterday, right? Like selling high on Dobbins. Like, yes, it was a tough matchup, so it's not all on him, but what he did the first 2 weeks was on very limited work too. He had 10 carries and 11 carries. Like, you're not going to sustain 10 carries for 130 yards and a touchdown every single week. No. Nor in the same realm as, the 70-yard bomb. So that's why it was the right time to do it. And if he does have a few more of those games, awesome. But that's tough to bank on. He gave you those 2 already, and they're going to have some tough matchups where we see this. Does this mean JK is not going to have good games? No, it doesn't. I'm just saying sell high was before 10 a.m. this morning.
Yeah. Right now you're holding.
You're holding and hoping he gives you another one. And if he does soon, I'm selling again if I didn't the first time.
Yeah. No, without a doubt, 100% there. Hey,
go ahead.
No. I was about to move.
When do people start panicking about the Cowboys? Do you think the Cowboys are in the same realm as a no running game as the Bears and the other teams that have no running game?
Yeah, they are especially against their teams. I mean, there's a reason they were behind 28-6 or 26-8, whatever it was in the fourth quarter. Like, they can't run the football. They just have a little bit more talent. Even on we talked about their O-line last week. It's still better than the Bears, by far probably. And they have a quarterback that has been in this league, right? Caleb Williams is a rookie running for his life back there. And they've got some weapons there. So I think that they're not as in a bad state because they've been doing this for longer. But, yeah, how do they expect to beat any teams when they can't run the football, dude? And there's definitely cause for concern.
At one point, I think the Ravens had 228 yards rushing, I think, in the third quarter against Dallas total. If they can't stop the rush, you know.
The final score in the Cowboys-Ravens game is a hell of a lot closer than what that game really was. The Cowboys were getting beat. They were getting they were just getting outclassed. The King showed up for 2 scores.
Showed out, man.
Zay, you already gave us the Zay line. He looked good. Still not. You still got, again, for fantasy purposes, you do have a little bit of a tight end issue, I think, without looking at the scores. I mean the actual numbers, but I know I saw Isaiah Likely on the field, but I don't know the snap percentage. I don't know what their usage was. I don't believe either of them scored in this contest.
Well, and they're using 3 tight ends too, because they're throwing the ball to Caller too.
You know, that's not. I mean, that helps nobody. That helps nobody right now. That helps nobody. It helps nobody right now. The Ravens went into Dallas. They haven't played there in a while also, and they came out with a nice road game. The King, by the way, is like, I think, 7.5 touchdowns or 6.5 touchdowns away from hitting that prop of 10.5. I don't know what.
Oh wow!
I don't know what the books were thinking doing that. There's 14 games left, and he needs 6-7 touchdowns. Wolfie, I know you definitely have that bet.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was just you have to play it. I mean, Gus Edwards had 13 last year. I mean, I think that was my take on it. Was you saw what Gus Edwards did in this offense, and now you're getting Derrick Henry. And I know the line isn't as good as it was last year, but when you have Lamar back there and you have to account for that, like unless Henry's hurt. Like, he's going to have multi-touchdown games. And he's going to have some dud games like we've seen, right? There are going to be some times where he's 15 for 50 and doesn't get in the end zone. But, yeah, I mean, he's still the man. Like, if he's healthy, he's still awesome. Dallas is being shown that you can run the ball down Dallas's throat too, right? I mean.
And this was somewhat of a revenge type of game. Not really a revenge game, but. You know, I think he's from the area.
Yeah.
He's on record that they never called him or Dallas never went to go, at least court him to come to the Cowboys. So I guess maybe
they didn't apparently court any running back. They went after
It's true.
As much as I like Dowdle, and I think that he, like I said, I think he's got some ability and some explosiveness. They acted like they didn't need any running back help. And one of the reasons I liked Dowdle was he clearly became the guy, was going to be the guy because they didn't get a running back. But I didn't think their O-line team would be so bad, nor do they. I mean, what do you have, 7 carries? I mean, what they have, 12 carries? Plus, if your defense is going to give up the amount of points they gave up last week and this week, you can't run the football anyway.
No. 8 carries for Rico. 2 carries for Dak, 3 carries for Zeke. Yeah, that ain't gonna get it. I'm sorry. That's not gonna get it done. Deuce Vaughn got in the game, 2 carries. No. Cavante Turpin, 1 carry, 8, 10, 13, 14, 16 carries between 5 people.
They were behind from the get-go, I mean, but Baltimore 2 weeks in a row has shown that you can catch up if you need to in the second half. We saw Minshew dice them, and we saw him almost blow a lead today against Dak, so that's a little concerning.
The Ravens defense did come to play because, I mean, look, Jake Ferguson led the team with 11 targets, 95 yards, 6 catches. CD did not have a good game, 67 yards on 7 targets, 4 catches. I mean, so the Ravens put the clamps down on the Cowboys for basically 3 1/3 of a quarter.
Yeah.
And to go back to the tight end and the Ravens, Nelson Aguilar, 1 catch for 56 yards. After that, it says Mark Andrews had 1 target in this game for nothing.
Bateman had one catch for a long run after.
Isaiah Likely, 1 catch on 1 target.
Yeah.
They didn't have to throw the football either, They didn't have to throw the football. So that hurts the fantasy world, right?
Absolutely. And I want to close out the show with the last game. We did talk a tiny bit about the Seahawks in respect to Geno and his development, and how he's a competent he's above average quarterback in this league at this time. But they played the Dolphins today. The Dolphins had to trot out Skylar Thompson,
and then trot out Tim Boyle.
So here now think about this for a second. The Dolphins have Skylar Thompson as their backup quarterback for Tua, who went down with another concussion, who's got injury history, and they thought that Skylar Thompson would be an adequate backup quarterback. Okay?
Yeah.
Now the Green Bay Packers, again, another franchise quarterback that they just signed, who has an MCL knee sprain, but yet their backup quarterback, Malik Willis, and he's gotten them to 2 wins. Where's the disconnect here? Why is it that you want to talk about quarterback development? Why is it that the Dolphins can't seem to get it right when it comes to protecting your most valuable asset? Now, I'm not saying that, well, there's only really 1 or 2 people that knew that Malik Willis would be able to succeed, and that's LaFleur, and that's like Thompson.
Yeah.
Or Guggenhust, whatever his last name is. Only they knew that they'd be able to manage a game with Malik Willis to back up Jordan Love. The Dolphins did not get this right here in terms of having someone as serious insurance for Tua. And the Dolphins won't win with this guy. They're certainly not going to win with Tim Boyle either.
Now, let me ask you this, because they're in
a big problem.
They signed Tyron Huntley off the practice squad.
I don't think that's the answer either.
But at least he's a winner. He's won.
He's better than those 2 guys. I mean, I don't know.
He's probably better than those guys, yes. And I don't know if he's going to be able to get them a win. We'll see. We'll see if he can get them a win. But you know what? If I got to think about it, I remember Huntley with the Ravens when Lamar got hurt at the end of that. What is it?
He played okay. He can use his legs. He's decent. He's been in the game. He's played. What I've seen Skylar Thompson, 3 games, 3 other starts, and a 4th start today. Back to what you said. I don't know why he was even the backup quarterback. The 3 games he played for this team before, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle had 0 relevance as far as stats go. I don't know why they kept him. I don't know why they didn't go out and get. Were they in the market for Flacco? Why? Even Ryan Tannehill, right? Somebody. I know he's been there before, but that wasn't Mike McDaniel. There's, veteran quarterbacks out there that you should have had, especially when you're supposed to be a contender.
With the history that this dude has, unfortunate as it is, they thought. I should say that they would be okay with him backing up Tua, and again, that looked ugly. That looked bad. We downgraded Jalen Waddle but we didn't downgrade anybody else on that offense.
And last night I said, do we need to downgrade Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
Here was the answer, though. Here was the answer to that question, though. The answer was yes, we do. But because he's Tyreek Hill,
we had to start him.
We had to start him, and I would have understood if somebody had the balls to not do it because I did not have him in my top 20 this week at all. But
I came really close to switching him to Deontay Johnson.
That would have been.
But that's the thing. Are you sitting Tyreek to play Deontay, hoping that Deontay gets it right with Andy Dalton against a defense we thought was really good? Over Tyreek, who can go to the house? Or are you starting Calvin Ridley? Or are you starting Zay Flowers? Like, in our world, like we can't really do that.
Yeah, I'm starting somebody with a decent quarterback that can get the damn ball to that person.
But now you may do so. But I think the answer was we all downgraded Tyreek. We just had to hope he got one and took it to the house, even though he didn't do that in the other games. And that was the concern. But you couldn't have Tyreek on your bench go for 2 for 97 and a touchdown.
The announcer on the call, there was a crossing route. Let me see who.
3 for 40 today.
There was a crossing route. It wasn't to Durham. It was to Tanner Connor on the deep cross. That Skylar Thompson missed badly, and they said that's Tyreek Hill's crossing route. That's Tyreek Hill's ball. Yeah, it was bad. It was a lousy, shitty performance. He put in 3 catches for 40 yards. It ain't gonna get done. Dwayne Eskridge, 1 catch for 30. Devon A-Chain, 3 catches, 28 yards. Bad all around. Unfortunately, because we drafted these guys high, man. We drafted Jalen Waddle. It was like a 3rd, 4th round draft pick in fantasy. And after that, hello, that's like the 3rd or 4th guy by now. Raheem Mostert was like the 5th Dolphin skill position player, only late round because it was Raheem Mostert and his age. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for the show. Fark, we appreciate you very much. And Odysseus, we appreciate you very much. And we will be back. We'll be back tomorrow. Not here on the tube, but I believe that we are up on X Spaces between maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock with B Lion premiere show. Tuesday is waivers. That doesn't change. We know we got Tuesday waivers at 7 o'clock. I'm not sure if there's a special guest, but we will be up on Spaces on Tuesday, and then we will be back on Friday, right here, the DFS Friday Night Show for SoCal, for the Commissioner Rhino. Peace. I am JC. Appreciate you very much, Goats, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Let me see if I can get since we were a show of goofs tonight. Let's see if we can get the outro together. Don't hate us, guys. Don't hate us. We're growing. We're growing. We're new. We couldn't have done it without you. We got link problems. I don't send this dude the link.
I don't see it anywhere. We're good.
It doesn't.
You know what? Maybe if we put it, can we put him on admin? Because if he's on admin, then all he has to do is go into the StreamYard.
I think he's there. But yeah, we probably can. Guys, enjoy tonight's game. Enjoy Monday Night Football as well. Appreciate you all.
All right, man.
See you guys.
Late.